HIP 70 still being voted on and debated. Helium House, New York City is around the corner with a big announcement expected, and the price of HNT has retreated to near the $4 level. Price action during and shortly after the previous Helium House was nothing that made any difference long term, but there is a big announcement expected next week in New York City. Most people have speculated that it will be a major MNO announcement, and that seems fitting considering one of the speakers is a director at Deutsche Telekom, T-Mobile's parent company. That, of course, will be major news for Helium 5G, and these service providers are now much more interested in providing that service since the latest retooling of the 5G sub-DAO to include an incentive for them to provide coverage for the Helium network. Let's take a look at the details and what we might expect next week in New York City in today's video. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the Crypto Compound channel. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you guys are having a great day. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way. In today's video, we're going to be taking a quick look at the price of HNT here. We're going to be talking about some of the speculation regarding an announcement at Helium House, New York City next week, and we'll be taking a quick look at the status of the vote. Right now, as we can see, ever since our previous video on Wednesday, we were at 79% here in favor. We have moved to the 83 to 84% range since that time. There has not been a lot of movement after that big jump to 84%. We have been hovering around this area ever since Wednesday. If you guys have not voted, please make sure to vote. Look up online all the relevant information. Check out previous videos I have. I try to be as objective as possible, but make your own decision. Get on here and vote. The vote does depend on how much HNT is in your wallet, but regardless, make sure to vote. In all of these votes, there's only a very, very, very small percentage of HNT that ends up actually being used to vote. So it would be great if we could get more people there. Come check it out. It is certainly the most important HIP in Helium's history, and we are currently, as it stands right now, this will pass. There are 5 days left. This ends shortly after Helium House, New York City, which is very, very interesting. It's almost as if it is going to happen that night because this is an estimated time. It depends on the amount of blocks, but it seems like it is going to happen very late on the 20th or very early on the 21st. And guys, yes, I'm going to do my best to be there at Helium House. I have registered. I do have some major work commitments on Monday and Tuesday, but I'm going to do my best to get there. And if I am there, I will be wearing my white Crypto Compound shirt. So keep an eye out if you guys are there as well. Now, guys, if we jump over here to the price chart, we can see that we have retreated now in between these two previous resistance and support lines. This was what I was expecting after we saw this blow off bottom here and this major green engulfing candle. As you can see, we did make an attempt to stay above this previous critical line of resistance. However, now it was serving as support for a second, but we have fallen below and we are now smack in the middle of these two critical areas, and I would expect us to stay there for a decent amount of time until we can get a real strong recovery either above or fall and capitulate further below. But a retest of this level after we saw a pinging of this critical line here, a retest and a strong positive price action after that retest would be a very, very good signal that this, in fact, the structure that formed after that, in fact, would be a bottom if we get a retest after this previous blow off bottom. Now, as it relates to Helium House, New York City, I did want to point to what the price action did during Helium House ATX a few months ago. As we can see, it was on June 11th. This happened to be a very big red candle day, and 2 days later we did see some recovering price action and we did return to previous levels of that day, but really nothing above it. It's hard to tell if something in particular did cause this, or if these 2 green days were a result of some announcements or some partnerships that were announced at Helium House, but there was nothing very significant that happened here. Now, differently than last Helium House is this Helium House, we are expecting a major MNO announcement. That is what people have been speculating. As you can see, James here has tweeted a few days ago. So Helium has a T-Mobile director as the final speaker at Helium House. T-Mobile invested in the last funding round, and we know there is a major secret announcement coming at Helium House. Now, all the stars do align and everything is pointing to them making a major announcement. Even the fact that the speaker here is so late in the last day, 4 p.m. to 4:30, gives me even a little bit more suspicion that there will be a major announcement. I imagine they wouldn't make a giant announcement early on at Helium House. I feel like it would be at the end. However, if we take a look at Nessie here, she doesn't directly work for T-Mobile. She is a director, group partnering and devices at Deutsche Telekom. Deutsche Telekom, however, is the parent company of T-Mobile. And if we look here, we can see director, group partnering and devices at Deutsche Telekom. Clearly a very successful and high-level executive here for the telecommunications company. And we do know that T-Mobile has been involved in recent funding rounds and been very involved in the entire evolution of Helium to this point. However, me personally, even though this does seem like there will be a major MNO partnership announcement here, that T-Mobile will officially be offloading a lot of their subscribers to the Helium network to fill the gaps in their coverage. I really think this is too telegraphed. I don't think that that's possible. I really don't think that it is as likely as it seems. I think it is too clear cut here. I don't think they would make it that obvious. I'm sure that her speech will be impactful. However, I find it highly unlikely for it to be that telegraphed for T-Mobile to come out and make an announcement and Helium House have this here just sitting here like this after we know that a big announcement is coming. And it does say that she's going to discuss traditional wireless meets decentralized wireless, hear about why industry leader Deutsche Telekom invested in the Helium ecosystem, and what happens when decentralization is thrown into the wireless mix. So again, that does sound like they might be making a major partnership announcement, but it seems incredibly televised. I don't think that that is the path that people would be taking. And now, guys, one last thing I want to touch on with regards to the MNO partnership is that this Helium Mobile sub-DAO map has been updated since its original version. Obviously, it's continuously being tweaked and can continue to be tweaked. However, previously, or the original mock-up version of this had no incentive going to the service provider or the MNO. That is what T-Mobile will be servicing. This is the spot that T-Mobile would be filling here in this ecosystem. Now, as you can see, there is a 20% HNT incentive for these service providers. So now that there is a incentive for these service providers to offload some of their data traffic to the Helium network, they are now interested. That is part of the reason why I think an MNO partnership is needed and is inevitable. I just don't know if it is going to happen next week. Again, it simply just seems too telegraphed for that to be the case. Very interestingly enough, just above one of the panelists here speaking with Amir is the co-founder of Solana. They will be discussing HIP 70. It is no surprise that people from Solana would be heavily involved here. That is part of the reason why people are so discouraged with the entire process. And guys, as we can see, Helium has lost a rank since the previous video, not doing particularly well. Hopefully that can be turned around by what happens at Helium House, whatever the announcement is, whatever sort of partnerships and manufacturers are there with different, maybe new products. That will be very, very interesting to watch. And of course, the price action will speak for itself. We will see how people react based on this chart. Guys, thank you all so much for being here. Please leave your questions and comments down below. Thank you so much for watching until the end. And please hit that like and subscribe if you have not already. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. But just like that, this video is over, and I will see you next time.